Chapter 23. Building a Freelancing Agency. If you can't tell, I'm not a fan of the agency model. As an introverted freelance writer, I'm not a fan of being in a role where my day-to-day is focused on managing other people. Instead, I much prefer to be an individual craftsman, emerging from the cabin in the woods I'm staying in with a beautiful piece of copy in hand for my client to do with it what they will. I prefer solo freelancing with occasional team support on researching and editing needs because it works best for what I want my ideal day-to-day to look like. My approach of writing in solitude with some support on more complex projects works best for me. I have more time to devote to things like writing this book, maintaining my blog, and writing my novel, coming out sometime in the next decade. However, if you love the opportunity to hang out on video calls and solve problems with other people even more than you love writing, the agency model can be a great model for you. This book isn't going to teach you how to do that because it's not something I'm a fan of, but I'm sure you can find some awesome resources through the internet search machine. But I will share some basics as a retired veteran of the agency trenches. What is an agency? An agency is a company that hires freelancers or employees to help accomplish client projects. An easy example of this would be an ad agency like the one featured in Mad Men, but you don't need to be a whiskey-drinking Don Draper to head up a creative team and make things happen. Agencies can be copywriting-focused or they can be content-focused. They can own the whole process from idea to execution of a deliverable like a video, or they can just deliver things like written branding materials. The whole point of an agency is to be a collection of talent that can solve a client's problem faster and more efficiently than if that client had to hire out every role individually. Every agency will have its own list of services and be focused on a different niche. Some agencies will be more creative, others will be more tactical. There are pros and cons of the agency model. Pros of the agency model: you can scale your business quickly and provide a ton of value to clients. You can work on interesting, fast-paced projects and own the whole thing. You can put your creative direction to work and help the client from start to finish. Your income becomes more passive as you're monetizing other people's time, not just your own. You have the potential, but aren't guaranteed, to make a lot more money than as a solo freelancer. Cons of the agency model: great talent at an affordable rate is hard to find. People are inconsistent, and if you're hiring freelancers, they might not be available when you need them. Full-time employees can get expensive and eat into profits if you have a slowdown in clients. If someone in your agency turns in bad work, it's up to you to problem solve and hire a replacement and pay a rush fee to meet a deadline. Your work is directly tied to the project's results, not just your individual performance. You'll spend less time as a writer and more time as a people manager. A word of warning on agencies: you may find a slew of influencers on social media who are trying to convince you that running an agency is the easiest job in the world. You hire people, they do all the work, you keep all the profit. You just need a team of virtual assistants and the cash machine keeps printing. If someone's telling you that you can make easy money, they're probably making easy money off of you. They're probably selling you an expensive course or coaching program, not a feasible business model. You can't pop bottles in the club if your virtual assistants keep turning over or if your company missed a deadline for a client. Recruiting great, reliable talent is harder than you think. When I failed at starting my own agency, my partner and I had reviewed over 100,000 applications for writers and interviewed less than 1% of those applications. Walk into every new business venture with your eyes wide open so you know what it takes to succeed and whether or not the sacrifices are worth what's waiting on the other side. Tips for running an agency. I'll share my story at the end of this chapter about how I failed to build a successful copywriting agency so you can learn from my mistakes. In the meantime, here are some tips I learned in the process of researching how agencies work, how to build them, and what to do and not to do. Be clear with your clients on what you offer. Your agency should have a clear niche. My recommendation is to keep your agency laser focused. If you try to do everything at first, you'll probably fail. However, if you niche down to a particular set of services like owning the self-publishing process from idea to book marketing, you're in a much better position to deliver great results and become an expert in your field. Pay your freelancers fairly. You can pay freelancers on a per project or per hour basis. I know agency owners can have different approaches, such as sharing a set percentage of the project budget with their freelancers. Pick the model that is fair and ethical based on what your workflow is. Pay your agency freelancers even when you get stiffed. An hour worked should always be an hour paid. You, as the agency manager, take on the risk of the project. That's not the case with those working for you. Always uphold your contracts and pay people what you promise. Have your agency freelancers sign NDAs. Make sure all of the freelancers or employees you have doing work on a project have signed NDAs with your freelancing company. That way, they can be held liable in case they leak confidential client information. It's also important your freelancers have professional liability insurance if something like this happens. It's important that everyone has professional general liability, but you should make it mandatory with any freelancers you hire. Quick tip: solve more problems for your agency clients. Not sure what services to add to your agency offerings? Go back through your messages with clients and see what services they were asking for. Or conduct a survey of your current clients and see what other services they need help with. At the end of the day, even if you don't scale into a full-on agency, freelancing doesn't have to be a completely solo profession. My business partner Kyle plays an integral role in my work, and he has helped me ideate on how to grow my freelance business. I owe him so much for his wisdom and support. I'm also so grateful for the freelancers who help me with things like proofreading this book, designing this book's cover and interior, and all of the other amazing folks who help me with projects when I need their different skill sets and perspectives. In essence, find what works for you and go from there. Amy's Field Notes, my failure to build a copywriting agency. I love talking about failure because it's a treasure trove of lessons. So here's a recent failure, my failure to build out a copywriting agency. I created this company called Kingdom of Ink with my partner Kyle. Together, we vetted and brought on a team of writers who we proudly put on our website. We created a mutual aid mechanism, meaning a percentage of each successful project would be shared amongst the entire group of writers. That meant one person's win would be everyone's win, and we hoped that would create an atmosphere of shared learning, support, and community. We would operate as the platform, helping to gather leads, foster community, and empower our freelancers to take charge of their careers with our support behind them. Boy, we were so wrong. When the clients started coming in, we started assigning projects to people. However, our writers had some trouble maintaining deadlines and weren't acing the meetings like we'd hoped. So my partner Kyle took a more active role in meeting with clients, but they didn't want to meet with the writers directly. They wanted us to be the middleman, which didn't fit with our model. That would be too much of a game of telephone. Then came the issue of what happened when a project went wrong, and this killed our company. One of our writers dropped the ball with a prickly client and basically ghosted them. Suddenly, that client was blowing up my phone in the middle of the night, despite the fact that it was our writer's client, not mine. This wasn't the deal we made. Our writers were supposed to take ownership over their projects and clients, not shuffle off angry people to me and moonwalk out of their obligations. After the project was handled and I mediated the situation, Kyle and I sat down and looked at the numbers. The agency wasn't making enough to justify the amount of time it was requiring from both of us, so we shut it down. I'm much happier being a solo freelancer these days. All my projects are my own, and I'm not depending on other people to deliver or make clients happy. My years of experience with clients has given me superpowers in conflict resolution, and I know how to deliver on my own promises. If you decide to start an agency, know that you're also handing over your trust in other people. Your trust will be broken, and you'll have to learn the ins and outs of what it means to manage other people to get the best work out from them, all while keeping the project under budget. This isn't to say an agency model done right can't be successful. I've seen others build it, and I saw the changes I would have had to make in order to make my agency succeed. But the difference was that I wasn't willing to become a full-time people manager. I much prefer my cozy days spent writing with minimal management. Failure has taught me more than success ever has, so lean into your mistakes and let them light the way to a better tomorrow. I create these voiceovers using Wondercraft AI, a text-to-speech tool that speaks in your voice so you can create more podcasts, audiobooks, and voiceovers, all by just dropping in some text. Use my code SUTO50, SUTO50, or the link in the description below to get 50% off your Wondercraft AI subscription. I get a small commission if you use my code, so thanks for your support. Sending creativity and good writing vibes your way. Amy.